Omori, the emotionless guardian of a dream, versus the Batter, the silent enforcer of a dying world. Imagine this: you are created to fix something that is fundamentally broken, a world with rot, specters, and mistakes that just refuse to disappear. You are told that there is only one solution: to erase it all. No doubt and hesitation, just follow the mission until there's nothing left to save. Or maybe you witness a single unbearable moment, one truth so painful that your mind fractures under its own weight. So instead of facing it, you build a dream, tasked with keeping the truth locked away forever. Welcome to Danny Boy's Fight Club, the series where yours truly pits two fictional characters against each other in a hypothetical battle to the death. Today's episode is certainly gonna be interesting. In life, bad things will happen to us. It's just a part of living. No matter where you are or what you do, at some point you have experienced some kind of loss or tragedy. However, there are some losses that hurt far more than others. Meet Sunny, a young boy like any other. Just a kid who liked hanging out with his friends Kel, Aubrey, Basil, Hiro, and Mari, his older sister. However, one day, something very sad happened. Something that caused the friend group to drift apart. This devastated Sunny. His whole world was destroyed, and his life quickly went upside down, and he had no idea what to do. Overwhelmed by distress, guilt, and trauma, Sunny retreated into his own head. Literally. A new being was formed, an alter ego of Sunny named Omori. This being found himself within white space, a place that he had apparently lived in for as long as he could remember. After picking up a knife and meeting up with some of his friends, Omori is introduced to Headspace, a colorful land where he could be with his friends again, just like old times. Omori would abruptly be transported back to white space, however, before waking himself up by stabbing himself. He would go downstairs to get some food, before running into something in the dark. Despite this fight triggering a traumatic memory in him, Sunny would use a newfound skill to rid himself of all negative emotions, calm down. He then heard someone knocking at the door. After that, Sunny goes back to sleep and heads back to Headspace as Omori, where he finds that Basil is missing. Along their journey through Headspace, Omori encounters tons of colorful enemies, such as a space boyfriend who is sad about his breakup, a queen looking for a true love who tries marrying one of the group before eventually settling on the aforementioned space boyfriend, and this stripped out shark who happens to be the head honcho of a sketchy casino resort. To defeat these enemies, Omori must utilize skills and the power of friendship. This is an RPG game first and foremost, and no RPG is complete without a leveling system and unlockable techniques, such as Stab, which bypasses an enemy's defense, Observe, which can predict an enemy's next move, Sad Poem, which induces emotions onto enemies, or just turning people into bread, I guess. Since he is a being created out of the imagination of a teenage boy, Omori is also incredibly gifted, able to keep up with this shark plane that was moving at the speed of sound. The group could also fight Pluto, and even survive him throwing the entire planet on them. By measuring the speed at which the planet was traveling and assuming the Earth in this shot has the same density as the actual Earth, we can determine that the planet was hitting the party with a force of over 1,071 joules of force. Omori can even learn new abilities just by watching others use them, like when he gained vertigo, cripple, and suffocate from his fears. And since Omori is the alter ego of Sunny, the creator of Headspace, he can warp all of it to his liking. But even with these newfound abilities, there was one thing that Omori couldn't seem to get rid of. Something that just kept reappearing in his mind. Something that would have to be confronted at some point. In the real world, Sunny would reconnect with Kel after being a recluse for so long. He would have to defend Basil from Aubrey, who is now the leader of a group of delinquents. After warding her off, Basil revealed that Aubrey had taken his photo album. Sunny and Kel tracked Aubrey down and found her in a church of all places, before she revealed that Mari had died. And with that, it all began coming back to him. That truth that his alter ego was trying to hide. It was finally coming to light. All those encounters with something were trying to reveal the truth. Just a fair warning, the stuff I am about to mention is very dark. Far darker than the media I usually discuss on this channel. If you wish to skip over it, follow the timestamp on screen. Overall, viewer discretion is heavily advised. That something that kept following Omori around revealed itself as Mari's hanging dead body. After a confrontation against it, he began to remember how Mari died. Mari and Sunny were practicing for a duet together, and they were getting ready to go to recital. Before then, the two would get into an argument. After throwing his violin on the floor, Mari blocked his way, but out of frustration, Sunny pushed Mari down the stairs, ending her life. Quickly overwhelmed by shock, Sunny would have a breakdown, not knowing what to do. Basil would approach him with a twisted idea, that being to frame her death as a suicide. After remembering everything, Sunny is then presented with several choices. When you wake up, if you head back to sleep with a knife, you cannot do anything in white space but stab yourself again. Only this time, you actually stab yourself in real life too. If you wake up without a knife, you are seen with something following you, signaling that the trauma remains. If Omori decides to go see Basil, he has the chance to save him from taking his own life. Basil's hallucination of something are so bad to the point that he tries fighting it with a garden tool, leading to him stabbing Sunny's eye, leading to both being hospitalized from their injuries. While asleep, Sunny directly battles with Omori, the embodiment of his own denial. If you lose, Omori takes over Sunny's mind, leading him to jump off a building. But if Sunny continues and wins, he finally gets to play his duet with Mari. The world isn't perfect. Everyone knows this. In our lives, there are things we could do without. But what happens when someone takes it upon himself to get rid of the things that plague the world, to purify it, in a sense? This very idea came into play when a sick child named Hugo rose from the smoldering ashes of a destroyed world. Hugo's life was, let's just say, not the best. His mother was distant and his father was incredibly strict. However, this would only motivate Hugo to create the Queen, a manifestation of his own mother, alongside an entirely new world. However, no story is complete without a villain, and it wasn't long before a manifestation of Hugo's father was created as well, the Batter, a tall, cold, emotionless being whose one goal was to clean the world around him, saving it. You, yes you, the player, take control over this towering monotonic entity, being told that you have a divine mission to fulfill. The Batter is directly aware of your presence, and has allowed himself to be controlled by you, trusting that you will assist him in his one singular mission. Along said mission, you are guided by a funny-looking cat named Pablo, better known as the Judge. And thus begins the Batter's journey to beat spirits and specters into a pulp. The world of Off is split into 4 main zones, with each zone having a guardian, with the guardian of Zone 1 being Dadan, the supervisor of the Queen. She will be more important later. Despite being a person, the Batter saw Dadan as nothing more than another pesky spirit that he had to exterminate. Ultimately, he was no different from the other souls that he had to atomize, and by extension, literally everyone else. Nobody's life mattered. All that mattered was the Batter's divinely ordained mission. In combat, the Batter is a beast. Not only can he heal himself back to full health from basically any damage, but he also has the terrifying power of add-ons. You see, these weird white rings behind them are not just for decoration, they serve as a primary source of offense in the heat of battle, allowing the Batter to induce various status effects onto enemies, even ignoring an enemy's defense altogether. Physically, the Batter is nothing to scoff at either. He can contend with the Queen, who powers her zone, with each zone being stated to be the size of a continent. He's also pretty fast, being able to climb up a whole chimney pretty quickly, and he can scale to Pablo, who can even do something similar. However, none of these are the Batter's best qualities. Being an RPG character, it's no surprise that he has an insane list of items. Revives, heals, restoration of his competence points, Isaac can give him a brief info on who he's fighting, the list goes on. The Batter would use these and his new add-ons to fulfill his mission. And fulfill his mission he did. He went into every zone and cleaned it out, using a little neat place called the Nothingness to get to each one. Interesting, everything is stated to move at light speed in this realm. But this mission had a pretty sinister side effect. After the death of their guardian, every zone turned into an empty and monochrome hellscape. All signs of life were gone aside from violent beings called secretaries that would kill anything they saw, and eventually the zones would fall into nothingness entirely. The batter didn't really care about the side effect though. The world he was gradually destroying was corrupt, full of evil and suffering. It was better like this. Eventually, the batter would make his way to the final zone, known as the Room, and he traveled through a giant complication of Hugo's memories, eventually making his way to the Queen and taking her out. But the mission wasn't over yet. The batter found Hugo. The poor child was now held up in a red room and severely ill. Seeing this as the final step in his sacred mission, the batter put the poor child out of his misery, ensuring him that there would be no more darkness from now on. With nothing else left, the batter went to a switch that would destroy the world for good, only to be interrupted by a now regretful Pablo, who refused to let the batter destroy everything like this. He reached out to the player for help, but it was no use. The batter easily defeated the cat and turned everything off. But what if that wasn't the case? What if you did side with the judge? Well, in that case, you fight the batter and... What is that? Oh, okay, don't be fooled. This terrifying new look isn't a super form or anything. Rather, it's just what the batter has always looked like to anyone on the receiving end of his purification. In fact, this form actually just reveals the batter's biggest weakness, that being the fact that he wouldn't have been able to do any of this without you. You are the one who could always bring him back after every death by loading progress. You are effectively his very soul. I mean, without you, he actually goes down really easily. However, fortunately for him, this ending isn't canon. Canonically, you'll help him see it through to the very end. Escaping from your purpose is impossible after all. Alright, it's the moment you've been waiting for. Let's settle this discussion once and for all. It's time for the fight portion of this video!
Do not interfere with me. Purification is in progress. That light bulb, it's hiding something, isn't it? I will not leave until I have purified this zone. Whatever. Stand still, Spectre. Just give it up already. You cannot escape your purpose. You are like a cockroach that will not die. Just succumb already. The truth has already been freed, and you can't undo that.
I guess you could say that the batter got offed. Maybe it's not the best time for that. This was a fascinating fight to look into, given the admittedly unconventional nature of both of their skill sets. The batter himself seemed unstoppable, a beast that pushes through just about anything just to complete his mission. However, the batter is as powerful as he is within the context of his story, and he was not unbeatable. Taking a look at their greatest showings of strength, the batter was comparable to the queen, who could sustain an entire zone, the likes of which are described as entire continents. However, Omori was able to manipulate all of Headspace and contend with Sunny, who is the original creator of Headspace. Headspace itself is already established to contain multiple worlds, and each of these worlds being established to span across entire galaxies. Even with the lowest end possible, Omori took strength by a very large margin. However, the batter did hold a speed advantage. Omori could contend with a plane shark moving at Mach speed, while the batter was able to move through the nothingness zone at the speed of light. Wait, the batter is a metaphysical entity directly controlled by the player, and he could always just resurrect himself, right? How on earth would Omori take him down for good? Plain and simple, Omori could always just BFR him into black space, something he consistently does to enemies. He could also just transmutate the batter into bread, something he had no real way back from. Even if he could resurrect himself from that, at best it would be a draw, since Omori is an embodiment of Sunny's own repression, and came back from being stabbed multiple times, until the player himself gives up on trying to help the batter, just like he did in his own game. The batter was truly a terrifying force. His raw power and determination to carry out his nihilistic goals made him feared throughout the verse. However, ultimately the embodiment of purification was repressed from unveiling the truth. The winner is Omori.